What's up, family? All right, just bear with me. I know when I start off, I gotta get my life together. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody had a wonderful Indigenous Peoples Day. Don't start with me, motherfuckers. I don't feel like it. I got a good little program for you today. We're gonna be talking about the Tekashi 6ix9ine indictment. I got a copy of the indictment. The RICO indictment. You hear a lot of rappers talking about RICO, but they finally got one of these motherfuckers. Anyway, I'm not laughing because it's not funny. It's not funny. What I was trying to do too before I got on here, I was trying to find video I had done. I think I did a live, so I can't really track it down right now. Maybe somebody else knows where it is or has it saved. I did a video on how the feds are watching your social media posts, and I did a long post about what they're looking at and how you could get got based on your social media posts. I wanted to play that in the intro of this, but I don't know what the fuck is that. Anyway, if you find that, go look for that because I've been talking for a long time. I've been doing this for a long time, years now. Even if you just found me, go through the videos and look through some of those videos and find them. The ones that are relative to you. I have videos on whether or not you should blow when you get stopped. I got videos on what you should do if the cops are looking for your kids. That's one of the one of, and I'm gonna do another video on that because I keep getting calls, and I got a call recently from a very good friend of mine, and I'm like, what the fuck? You ain't see the video? And it's weird because it's like people who don't know me, they watch the videos, and the people that know me are just like, oh, I heard you had a video, but I didn't watch it. Really? But you want to be on my phone talking about how I'm supposed to get out of this? Anyway. All right, so I've got a guest that I'm bringing in. I got another attorney. I got my girl Michelle Fields on standby. I'm gonna bring her in so she could join me in this conversation about social media and RICO indictments and the Tekashi indictment because this could have been avoided. This could have been avoided. And not if he not only if he just took heed to the advice that Fat Joe gave him. You know, this could be if he would have just had a little bit more discipline, just had a little bit more discipline about the things that you post on social media. Because people have this false perception that there is some level of privacy here, which is it's mind-boggling to me because you could be on your phone and then 10 minutes later you're gonna get a notification or an ad about the shit you was just looking at. But you think that there's some privacy. Let me just be clear. You do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy in social media posts. You just do not. You don't. Okay, even if your page is private, it would be unreasonable and unrealistic and irresponsible for you to think, for 1 second that your post is private because Facebook told you it was private. Like, you come on. Right? Come on. And that goes to all of the things that you post, including photos of your children. Right? So be careful about the things you post. I mean, I see people posting, that tub picture of your kid when he's little. That used to be cool. But now we have sexual predators who take photos like that and will Photoshop them and sell them and have your child's likeness or image in some sort of pornographic black market website. So you really got to be careful. There is no privacy expectation on the internet. And so let's get into it. Let me get my girl. Now I got to remember, I did this before. Oh, wait, and let me see. You know what the other thing was? See, now, when I did live before, I was able to see the comments. Now I can't see them. I think I'm about to go out and come back in. All right, I'm gonna go out and come back in. Y'all bear with me. And should I do that? That's gonna kill me. I see y'all here. Hangout toolbox. Cameraman. Oh, and it's hot as fuck in here for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, I know why I did it. I know. All right, y'all, just bear with me. Let me get Michelle on the phone. I'm gonna tell her because I sent her the link, but she don't want to be on the camera. Can't blame her. She don't want to be camera. We a certain age. Like right now, I'm having the serious flash. And it could be because it's hot as fuck. Yo, I sent you a link on AOL. I'm live now. Check it, and you should be able to hit the link and come in without the video.
Okay.
All right, fam. So I put a link on the website on the bottom of this in the description box. There's a link to the DOJ, to the Southern District of New York, which is the office that is prosecuting Tekashi 6ix9ine. I put a link on there because it's the indictment is public. The indictment is public and it's public. Listen, unless it's sealed, it typically is public. But this indictment is attached to a press release because the feds are trying to make an example out of Tekashi 6ix9ine. Because remember when Bobby Shmurda happened, it was G69 and then whatever the gun squad, right? And it was a state case. The state was like, oh, no, we're not about to have y'all, glorifying violence and shooting up shit. We're gonna shut that down. And so the state stepped in Manhattan, prosecuted them and sent a bunch of people up for some football numbers. And Bobby Shmurda was able to get out of it. I think he got 7 or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward to Tekashi 6ix9ine, and the government is like, listen, we did the state shit. These motherfuckers ain't pay attention. They wasn't listening when we did the state case. So guess what? Let's bring the Fed RICO case. Bring a Fed RICO case because somebody is gonna pay attention to us. Somebody gonna pay attention to us. And so, how did this all start? Where did it all come about? Now, let me just be full disclosure. I'm not a Tekashi 6ix9ine fan. I don't really know him. I'm not familiar with his music. I didn't know Tentacion, XXX Tentacion. I wasn't familiar with him either. My son is 23. He was destroyed when XXX was killed, and I was like, who died? What's going on? What like he was the way I was when Prince died. And he's looking at me like, you're gonna just be crying over, you don't even know him. But this dude was broke the fuck up with XXX died. So I understood what his influence was to a lot of the young people, and then I try to stay connected both to my kids and my students. But how did the Tekashi 6ix9ine indictment come about? All right. The one thing that I want to do is, and I've been working on my screen share skills. Go me! I want to show you this video because I think this is the video that got his ass tagged. All right, so bear with me while I try to pull this up on the screen share. It's a TMZ video. Bear with me. Let me find it because I had it up. Okay, here we go. Here we go. DMC and DJ Run. Diddy done. Okay, should I go TMZ? Hold on. Hey.
What's that do? Random? What's that do? What y'all do? Let me know. When was the last time y'all did for somebody? Hey. Yo, jump. You know what I'm saying? Yo, bro. I know how to speak, bro. When was the last person you shot? When was the last person you shot? When was the last time you shot? When was the last person you shot? I know you, blood. When was the last person you shot, blood? So why you don't go back to your city? Why you don't go back to your city? Why you don't go back to your city? You not hot because you ain't still no record. You mean you hot? I'm good in my city. Man, I'm good. What's the last time something happened to me in my city?
It's a real tough guys beefing on fucking FaceTime.
That's a fact. And I'm there all the time. And I'm there all the time. So, we got to show me up. That shit not coming up. You mean cheap guys? You mean something got to show? Where you at, Ron? Where you at? Matter of fact, I'm gonna just listen. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just get your address. I know where you at. Don't worry about it. You hear me? Alright. Yeah. Where you at? You gonna be in your crib or you gonna be in some hometown? Huh? You gonna be in your crib or you gonna be in some hometown? Where you gonna be at? Nah, I got 30 pack right now, bro. 30 pack. Swear to God, I got 30 pack, bro. What's up, man? What's up, man? What's going on, man?
I got a 30 pack right now, blood. I got a 30 pack right now, blood. 30 cash, 30,000 cash. Yeah. Yeah, see, and that's the problem, right? That's the problem because social media, somebody uploaded that. I don't know who it was. I think I heard. I don't even want to, you know, it don't matter. I'm not even gonna go into that because I don't like repeating shit other people said. I don't know who uploaded that video of him. I don't know if it was him or his friends or whatever may have you, but that video is problematic because it appears that he has offered, he put a bounty on somebody's head. He offered 30,000 racks for this person for something to happen to them. Now, rumor has it, and this is from, you know, other lawyers who were in court during the time when Tekashi was having his bail hearing. And I'm going to talk to you about federal bail hearings in a second. One of the lawyers had said that there was some conversation that the feds had pulled Tekashi in at some point, either a week or two before this arrest, because they had heard on a wire that there was a death threat made on his life, right? Something to the effect that some people were going to super violate him. Now, there's a lot that gets lost in translation when the feds are listening to wires because they think that they know shit and they don't always know shit. And super violate might not mean kill a motherfucker. I've spoken to a few different people. Some people say super violate mean fucking nigga in the ass, like super violate him. I'm like, you know, it could mean different things to different groups. But to the feds have taken it to mean that you have put a hit out on this individual. And I believe not too shortly after this conversation, there was a shooting that occurred in which a bystander was shot, right? Okay, so this indictment includes that shooting. And it also talks about a number of things. It's an 8-count indictment. Tekashi 6ix9ine is in 6 of 8 counts. There are 2 counts that he is not involved in. There's that person, Fuquan Lovick, Fubenga. He's charged. Fubenga. I said Fubenga. Get my ER on. Fubenga is in those 2 counts by himself, allegedly have done a shooting. But you know, it's still part of the enterprise, right? So RICO. What is RICO? What is RICO, right? I'm not here to give you a history lesson on RICO. You could do that yourself. Most people understand that RICO was developed, was invented by the feds to counter the mafia and organized crime, right? But because the statute is so broad, they have used it for just about any organization, whether you are a legally formed entity or not. Right, and if that's what you call those associations in fact. An association in fact means that you don't necessarily have a legal entity in which you are doing business, but you are associated in fact such that you are doing business together. And so they have deemed this enterprise to be the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods. Right, that's the enterprise. They call them 9 Trey. Now, you might argue 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods is not the same entity or association that is Treyway, right? Treyway. We hear, you know, you hear a lot about the Treyway and the suck my dick and all that bullshit, right? And Treyway would be nothing without him. And you know, I saw the Breakfast Club video, and things of that nature, right? So the RICO is targeting an enterprise, which is the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, according to the feds. Listen, don't come for me because I'm reading this shit. This is not my work. I don't represent anybody. I mean, disclaimer, I don't represent any of these defendants. Um, I'm a practicing attorney in New York, and I do practice in the federal court. So I feel like I'm qualified to be able to have this conversation. Anyway, the term enterprise is defined by the federal code, the United States Code. For those of you who like to look shit up, it's Title 18, Section 1961, subsection 4. Again, that's Title 18, Section 1961, subsection 4. And it says a group of individuals associated, in fact, I already told you that, although not a legal entity. The enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the enterprise. At all times relevant to this indictment, the enterprise was engaged in and its activities affected, here's the magic word, interstate and foreign commerce. A bunch of you UCC people could jump on that. That these defendants, all 6 of them, or is it 6 of them? Jamel Jones, which is Mel Murda, Kefano Jordan, aka Shotty, Genzel Butler, aka Ish, Daniel Hernandez, aka Tekashi 6ix9ine, and Fahim Walter, aka Crippy. I think that's 5. The defendants participated in the operation and management of the enterprise and participated in unlawful and other activity in furtherance of the conduct of the enterprise's affairs. Right? That unlawful activity throughout the indictment is included in multiple shootings, robberies, assaults, threats, distribution of fentanyl, MDMA, that's ecstasy, marijuana, in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and the Bronx. Okay, Manhattan, Brooklyn, and the Bronx. So it's not just the shit you see on social media, right? And you got to understand that an indictment is bare bones. It's their bare. They're not laying out the evidence. They're not letting you know who's cooperating. You don't know what the strength of their evidence is based on an indictment. You just can't know. So, oh, did you get the link, Michelle?
I did not get the link.
Stop! You know I'm technically challenged. I sent it though. I sent it to the AOL. That's just.
I did not get. I'm checking spam. I'm checking everything. I did not get the link.
Let me send it again.
So I can say, listen, where's the link?
All right. So what's the email? No, I don't. You don't want everybody to know your email, right? I know. I know I have it. I don't know why it's not going to. Okay, hold on, fam. I'm gonna get back to the indictment in a second. I'm trying to get Michelle Field on here for y'all. Maybe if I type a little more. Duh, you're about a dumbass. Michelle Field. 99 at AOL, right? I got the rest. I don't understand what the feel. All right, try it again now. I resent the link. Okay. So back to the indictment. Okay. Now, in the RICO charge, there has to be acts that are in furtherance of the enterprise, and they have the means and the methods which include acts of murder, which is odd because there is no allegation that anyone was killed in the indictment, which kind of makes my spidey senses go, there's probably another superseding indictment, and this is a superseding indictment. This superseding indictment was filed 11/19. So based on my training experience, there's probably a couple more superseding indictments. A superseding indictment is when the feds go back into the grand jury with the charges they have, and they add more charges. They add more charges.
They will add more charges.
And they will. Exactly. So Michelle said they will add more charges, and I think they will as the investigation progresses and as defendants start to flip, as they start to. And we're gonna talk about that because a lot of you think that tough guy shit, like it doesn't follow in the courthouse. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. I've been doing this a long time, and I promise you, when it comes to self-preservation, your man is gonna give you up. He's gonna give you up. He's gonna show up. They're gonna roll that motherfucker in the court, and he gonna go, it was me and him. We was together, and we did this. And they gonna say, do you see this motherfucker in the courtroom? And this nigga gonna go, right here, he right there. He got on the white shirt and da. Right? He's gonna point right to you. So stop with that allegiance. And that's my man. And he would never shit on me. He would never do me like that. You know, listen, when it come down to you or him, bet it's gonna be you. Trust me when I tell you. And if you don't take nothing from this, do your dirt all by your lonely. If you take nothing from this, if you got to do dirt, do it all by your lonely fam, please. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. Because if somebody is there, somebody will tell. That's it. Right? So now, go ahead, Michelle.
And you have to also understand that 80% of the federal cases are plea bargains. You know, they don't hardly go to trial.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, and those plea bargains are due to the fact that the sentencing exposure is so great.
Right.
So
right.
The mandatory sentencing guidelines are punitive.
They are. Right. So and since you brought that up, let's talk about that, because the federal sentencing is a little bit different than state sentencing. And we're going to come back. I'm going to bounce around a little bit, y'all. And I got to be done by 9 o'clock because my man is coming through. Yes. We going to have to connect some other time. All right. Let's talk about mandatory minimums, which we do have minimums, mandatory minimums in the state system, but it works a little bit differently in the federal system. And it's a combination of your criminal history and the level of the offense that you are either going to plead guilty to or you've been convicted of, right? So there are 8 counts. I told you 2 of those counts do not apply to Tekashi 6ix9ine. Of the 6 that do, only 1 of those counts carries a mandatory minimum of 25 years. Okay, only 1 count. The second count carries a mandatory minimum of 25 years and up to life. So he is facing life. That's very real. Will he do life? Not likely. Not likely at all. The first count, he's facing 20 years. The third count is also 20 years. The fourth count is 3 years minimum. The 5th count has a mandatory 7-year minimum, and the 8th count has a 3-year minimum. What does that mean, minimum? Does a mandatory minimum? Okay, a mandatory minimum means that even if the judge knows your mother and raised your father and loves you to death and wants to give you something less than what the law says the mandatory minimum is, he cannot. Okay, that would be an illegal sentence, and it would be kicked back, and you would have to be resentenced. Okay, you cannot, the judge has no discretion to sentence you under the mandatory minimum. Now, unless you got one of these, what we call magic, unless you got a magic letter, what's that down? A 5K1 letter. Yeah, if you got one of those, so the 5K1 letter is a letter that is given to cooperators, right? Those that offer substantial assistance, as that term is defined by the government, substantial assistance in other cases, right? In other cases and in other ways and however else they need you to make cases against other people, and you do that to their satisfaction. Let me say that again, because you could do it and they could be like, that ain't enough. We got him, but we don't really want him. We want the next dude over him. And you're like, but I did X, Y, and Z. And they like, yeah, that was good. That was great. You were great. Can you just keep doing it a little bit longer? We need the next guy. And you already in and da-da-da-da. Right? So your cooperation has to be to their satisfaction, not to you tired. Right? Not till you feel like, yo, I think they might know I'm cooperating. The feds would be like, you think so? Well, we ain't too sure. You might want to go back in there. Anyway, so you got to satisfy them. When you satisfy them and they give you that 5K1 letter, that is the mechanism that allows a judge to sentence you below a mandatory minimum. Okay? And again, the only way you get to do that is if you are a confidential informant or a cooperator of some sort. Right? You're a cooperator and you give the government substantial assistance in some sort of investigation and or case, meaning that you either give up information or you agree to testify against other people, right? Because there are levels of cooperation, right? Levels could mean you just come in and you tell them a few things and they're happy with that and you can go and they won't prosecute you. They'll be like, thanks, we got that. We'll take that information and we'll hit the ground running with it. But you might be so integral to the investigation that they need you to testify against 1 or 2 other individuals, right? And so that's a different level of cooperation. And in order for you to do that, you have to plead guilty to something yourself, usually, right? All right. So this the 5K1 letter, you know, it's important. It's an important letter, and I don't know, you know, I can't say whether Tekashi 6ix9ine is looking at becoming a cooperator, being a cooperator, or anything to that effect. I will tell you that he's got good lawyers. I will tell you that. I will tell you that he has a good lawyer. I can't make representations about the male who's on his team that he mentioned on the Breakfast Club, but I can make mention to the woman, Dawn Florio, who is his attorney. At least I know on his state case. I think she's representing him on the Fed case as well, and she's good. She's good. I've had a couple of cases with her where we were co-counsel, and she goes hard. And you know, you know how I feel about it. If you don't go hard, get the fuck away from me. That's how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? So he's in good hands on that. And then, you know, don't think for a second. We know that the Fed's got a 90-something conviction rate and but that should not be, you know, the deciding factor as to whether or not someone goes to trial. You really do need to evaluate the evidence that's present, because, you know, you remember Murder Inc. They went to trial. They won. They won.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so it can be done. I've had federal cases where I've hung it up. I didn't win, but I hung it up. And in the defense world, a hung is a win. Right. A hung is a win. So yeah. So now I want to talk to you before we get back to the indictment about the bail hearing and the difference about bail in the federal system. Right. Because we've been hearing a lot about progressive DAs and across the country calling for the end of cash bail. Right, the end of cash bail, because it seems to penalize poor people more than it does anyone else, and it really doesn't have any it doesn't have any purpose other than to keep poor people imprisoned for no reason, right? So it's a little different in the Fed. The Fed don't do cash bail. It's not, you can come with all the money you want. You heard that Tekashi 6ix9ine's lawyer represented that he had $1.7 million in the bank, and he's still detained, right? So it's not just about what money you can put up. In the federal system, they make an assessment depending on the charges that you have, right? Some charges come with the presumption of you being detained, right? Depending on the type and severity of the crime, attached to that crime is the presumption of detention, right? That means that you then have to overcome the presumption. You have to show the judge that, one, you're not a flight risk, and two, that you are not a danger to the community, right? You have to be able to establish both of those things and present some sort of combination of situations in which your being at liberty would not harm the community. Right. And so sometimes the combination is that, okay, he'll be on house arrest, right? Because the community will be a little bit more safer if he's not able to leave home. We'll put him on an ankle monitor, and we'll make sure that there is what's called a personal recognizance bond, right? In the federal system, you don't put up cash. You have to use what's called a personal recognizance bond. And that basically just means that you're going to sign your life on the line. They're going to give you a piece of paper, and it's going to say, if this motherfucker don't come back to court, you going to owe us $1 million. You going to be like, we are signed. I'm just laughing because I've seen it. I've actually been there. I mean, it's not like $100,000 bail, nothing like that. The feds, it's going to be $1 million. It's going to be $1 million, right? And so you're going to sign that personal recognizance bond for $1 million. And if that person that you're signing on their behalf skips, then the government will come after you. Now, depending on the type of crime, again, depending on the priors of the individual defendant, the court or the prosecutors might ask for more than just your personal recognizance. They might ask you to put up some property, right? And if you put up property, then you got to do a confession of judgment for that property and file it in a county where the property is situated. Right, so that means you can't sell your shit. You can't put your house up for somebody on federal. It's just your shit, because motherfuckers think they slick. You can't put your house up and then try to sell it. That's why they make you file that confession of judgment, so that if you do try to sell it and somebody runs a title abstract on your house, then it's gonna pop. Right, it's gonna show up like a lien. That means your title is not gonna be clear, because the government has an interest in your house while this case is pending. As if you put up your house. All right. So bail is a little bit different, right? And so apparently, and I'm gonna say this because he was denied bail. There was no combination of circumstances that could be presented to the court to make the court comfortable enough that he, one, wasn't a flight risk, two, or a danger to the community. Now, one of the things that they consider and when they determine whether or not you're a flight risk, right? Well, how long you've lived in the community and what are your ties outside of the country, right? We know that Tekashi, I believe, is half Mexican and half Puerto Rican, I believe, and so he might have some ties outside of the country with family or things of that nature. Well, one of the things that they do to remedy that is you surrender your passport, right? Which is supposed to inhibit your ability to travel internationally. All right, fine. That's one thing. The other thing, though, is let's talk about Tekashi 6ix9ine prior conviction. And this is the one thing that I don't get. This is like, I mean, I know we are forgiving people, but this motherfucker is a registered sex offender. This shit is not lost on me. Right? And so I'm not sure exactly what year this occurred, but allegedly, not even allegedly, because he was convicted. So, I mean, he pled guilty. So it was a trial, I don't believe. I think he pled guilty to the felony in which he engaged in sex acts with a minor, 13-year-old girl. And it was recorded and uploaded to social media. And so I believe his defense was, I didn't touch her. I didn't touch her. But you know, the descriptions of the video in the complaint say otherwise. And they say otherwise. And if you hadn't touched her in all of that, you should have took your ass to trial. Because you didn't just plead guilty to a felony. You pled guilty to a sex crime, which means that you are a registered sex offender. So when you show up in federal court as a prior felon, who is now, he's on probation, is he not? Michelle, is he on probation? He's on probation now. Right, so fuck out of here. It's like, you know, you just but so much you could do and say and argue on behalf of a motherfucker. You still on probation. You just got restored, I believe. You just got restored to probation, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because he just had a probation hearing and he thought he was going to jail. Right? I think that was in front of in Manhattan. I want to say Judge Farber, but I'll be wrong if I'm not. And I like Judge Farber, so I'm sorry if I invoked your name by mistake. But I think that's what I heard. It was Judge Farber, who, by the way, is one of the most stellar judges in Manhattan. I'm not just saying that. I just think that intellectually, you know, I'm a sapiosexual. So intellectually, he's just smart. I like that shit. Anyway, okay. Now back to Tekashi. You know I got ADD, right? All right. Couple things that I know y'all gonna want to ask me, and I'm so sorry that I don't have the chat up, but y'all know I'm gonna come back. I'll try to come back in, and I'm gonna stop doing it this way. When I did it live before, I was able to see all the chats, and I was able, even though they was distracting as a motherfucker, which is why I kind of don't want them, because you know, like I said, I got ADD. Anyway, some people will want to know, well, listen, this RICO shit, how far can they go back? How far to get? Because you had, what's the guy's name? AB, whatever. I don't. Anyway, he was on Vlad TV running his fucking mouth, and next thing you know, there was a federal indictment for his fat ass. I don't know what these people are thinking, but just so you know, the feds can reach back 5, count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can reach back 5 years for RICO. Right, 5 years. And this indictment relates back to 2013. 5 years. That's a statute of limitation. Although the RICO statute is silent, you could look at Title 18, Section 3282, which talks about the statute of limitation in criminal cases, and it's 5 years for RICO. So they can relate back 5 years and probably more if they can establish that this is an ongoing criminal enterprise. They very well may be able to go back further than 5 years. Not that they have to. They may not need to, honestly, depending on what, like I said, what their evidence is. Now, what is their evidence? That's the next question, right? Okay, look, let me go back to the indictment, because I left off on a defined enterprise. I defined for you what the indictment says was the means. I think I did. Did I do? Yeah, I think I did. That was the means and the methods, the purpose of the enterprise. The purpose of the enterprise, which is 9 Trey Gangsta Blood, 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, according to the Fed, included the following: A, preserving and protecting the power, territory, and profits of the enterprise through acts involving murder, other acts of violence, and threats of violence. Threats of violence, right? Which was the clip I played for you. Promoting and enhancing the enterprise and the activities of its members and associations, keeping victims and potential victims in fear. Excuse me, I should have some salmon. It was so good. Keeping potential victims in fear of the enterprise, extortion, threats, things of that nature, and its members and associates through acts of threats and violence. Providing assistance to members and associations who committed crimes for and on behalf of the gang. Enriching the members and associates of the enterprise through, among other things, robbery in the distribution and sale of narcotics, including heroin, fentanyl, MDMA, dibutalon. What's that? That's the lean, I think. I'm not sure. I ain't gonna pretend I ain't looked that shit up. And marijuana. Protecting the enterprise and its members and associations from detection and prosecution by law enforcement authorities through acts of intimidation and violence against potential witnesses to crimes committed by members of the enterprise. You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like there are some potential witnesses who might be there with the witnesses. Yeah, willing to testify, like these dudes. You know, I was a witness to X, Y, and Z, and they told me if I came and told you anything that I would have problems, or you know, I would get missing, or whatever the case may be, or I would be super violated, right? Whatever. All right, means and methods. So here's one of the things that I want to read to you that I think is really interesting. And if you don't have the eyes for this, then you probably won't pick this up. Means and method of the enterprise. And I'm going to skip to D because this is a pretty lengthy, it's 18-page indictment. Even though it's only 8 counts. A lot of it is repetitive. But I want to read this one part. This is 7D for those of you who have a copy of the indictment. It's on page 5. Members and associates of the enterprise promoted and celebrated the criminal conduct of the enterprise, namely narcotics distribution and acts involving violence and the use of firearms. Let's get this, listen, in music and on social media. I'm gonna say this one more time. In music and on social media. So you know what that sounds like, right? Because I want you what you need to know about RICO is that there is a forfeiture statute. The forfeiture statute aims to take anything and everything that you have gained as a result of your criminal activity. And in the indictment is music. What that sound like trying to get those royalties, huh, Michelle?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because they're going to try to link his money, the legit money that he's made through the music industry, to this enterprise. And see if they can forfeit some of his proceeds from the music, right? Because they're saying that you use the music in such a way as to promote furtherance to promote a criminal enterprise.
Of the enterprise.
That's problematic. That's problematic. All right, now only dates in this indictment that I'll just go to you. Count 3, there is the date of April 3rd. I am also getting over a cold, finally. I'm finally getting over that, man. It was nasty. All right. Count 3, I'm going to skip all of the all the repetitive language. On or about April 3rd, 2018, Kefano Jordan, Shotty, Ish, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and Crippy, and others known and unknown. You know what that means when it's others known and unknown? That they're still investigating. That means that they're still investigating. And then, you know, when it's multiple defendants in cases like this, it becomes a matter of who's going to flip first, right? Who's going to flip first? Who's going to be the cooperator first? And it really is, it's really whoever flips first. The early bird gets the worm, right? Because if you flip first and you give me everything I need, I don't need nobody else. I don't know, don't come try to flip after this person flipped. I already got me a cooperator. I have one. He got his 5K letter. I'm not about to give all you motherfuckers 5K letters. Fuck y'all. Because we got to keep these prisons full. You motherfuckers. All right. Okay. So this says on April 3rd, 2018, those people I just named, others and unknown, as consideration for the receipt of and as consideration for a promise and agreement to pay a thing of pecuniary value from nine tray, and for the purpose of gaining entrance to and maintaining an increasing position in nine tray, an enterprise engaged in racketeering activity as described above, knowingly assaulted individuals with a dangerous weapon and aided and abetted the same, to wit, all those individuals I just said, participated, including Tekashi 6ix9ine, participated in a gunpoint robbery of rivals of the nine tray in the vicinity of West 40th and 8th Avenue in Manhattan. Right? So what does that say? That there are victims somewhere. There are victims somewhere who very well might testify against you. Now I know they want to pretend like they don't want to have anything to do with the Fed. People won't go testify, but I'm telling you again that that's not true. That's a lie. And here's another thing. If the feds or the state government think that you are a witness to a crime, they can get what's called a material witness warrant and lock your ass up until such time that you would like to testify. It's called the material witness warrant. And if you have material information and you have been identified as a witness, you will be hauled into court to testify about that, whether you like it or not. Now, of course, you could do that. I don't remember. I don't recall. You could do all of that. You saw how well that worked out for your girl, Lil Kim. Oh, and we come full motherfucking circle. Yeah, you can't lie to the feds. That's a crime. And you damn sure can't lie to the grand jury. That's a crime. It's called perjury. If you lie about a material fact. Right? You might argue whether or not the fact is material, but you're probably going to go to jail. Like she did. All right. What else I want to tell y'all about this? I told y'all he was facing all of the time he was facing. Oh, okay. So that was 9-3. I think my doorbell just rang. All right. Somebody else gonna open the door. All right, we gotta wrap this up. I gotta get out of here. All right. Other dates that I wanted to mention. So that's April 3rd. That was in Manhattan. Okay, so the Barclay shooting, everybody knows about that one. Count 6, right? All times relevant to this indictment, on or about April 21st. So this is the one that's only Fubanga. April 21st in the Southern District. The defendant, and all that language is the same, as consideration for the receipt of and a consideration for a promise and agreement to pay, thing of pecuniary value, everything that I said before. And with the purpose of maintaining an increasing position in a nine trade enterprise, Lubbock fired a gunshot at rivals of nine tray upon encountering them at the Barclay Center in Brooklyn. Now, who the fuck told the feds that? Somebody had to tell the feds that it was Fubanga who did that shooting. All right, unless it's on video, or unless they was bragging on social media, which is wholly possible. All right, hold up. I gotta make sure my boo can get in. I'm in here, babe. Huh? You open? Thank you. Where you at? Oh. Yeah, I'm almost done.
You still on it?
Yeah, I'm still on.
Oh, man. Wow, guys.
Yeah, don't bring the doors with you. So that was April 21st. That was the two counts that Tekashi is not on. Those are the two counts that are related to the Barclays. And that's Fubanga. And there's one last count that's relative, that has a date, and that is count 8. The last count, yeah, the last count. Count 8, on or about July 16th, Southern District. Same thing, all 5 defendants for the same purposes, and in furtherance of the enterprise, engaged in racketeering activity, and conspired to commit murder and assault with a dangerous weapon, and to wit, that all these individuals, Jordan, Butler, Hernandez, Walter, and others, agreed to shoot an individual who had shown disrespect to the members of 9 Trey. You know they're not telling you who the individual is, right? Because he's probably a witness for the Fed. Who has shown disrespect to the members of 9 Trey. And as a result of disagreement, an innocent bystander was shot in the vicinity of Fulton Street and Utica Avenue. And that's probably when y'all fucked up. That's probably when the Feds was like, all right, enough of this bullshit, right? Because now y'all shooting innocent bystanders. When y'all was just shooting each other, they were content to lay low and just watch. But y'all starting to shoot other people. Now, so that's the last count. You should know that there are forfeiture allegations as to all the defendants, including Tekashi 6ix9ine, and his assets will be on the line, whatever they are. I don't know if he just bought a house, Michelle. Did he something like that? Just buy a house for his mama? I don't know. I know he said something. He got 1.7 million, and I'm assuming he ain't living where he grew up. So that's that. I think I covered everything. I covered the bail. I covered the flight risk, presumptions. I covered mandatory minimums. That's it. You want to add anything, Michelle? She's still there? Michelle. All right, Michelle. I don't know what happened to Michelle. She might be trying to get the link. But anyway, don't be Tekashi 6ix9ine. Oh, now you back.
I'm just want to state that, again, this is an ongoing investigation. There are going to be other arrests and more people added to this indictment. But I also wanted to share with you and the audience that this is a continuation of, the gang rape in the 5 boroughs.
Mm-hmm.
And there has been in the last year, I've gone to gang debriefings with federal and state collaboration. And this is what they're doing, especially those known Bloods and Crips, and even just the ones that are not notoriously known, but just these crews, they're being they're takedowns. From the Bronx to Harlem, and Brooklyn as well. And then there's a, pending takedown possibly in Queens. I don't know when that's going to happen.
Right.
So, and this could also be related to those, gang takedowns.
Right.
In the different boroughs.
Okay. Right. So, the message here is that no one should be too comfortable, especially if you are engaged in criminal activity. There is no privacy on social media. You don't have any friends. I'm sorry to tell you, if you are engaged in criminal activity, there is no honor among thieves. That is a very true story. I'm not making this shit up. I've had people sit in my chair and give up the whole motherfucking thing. Right? That's when I was a prosecutor. That's been my experience. And I've sat with defendants, some of the toughest of motherfuckers, and I've seen them break all the way down. Right. So when it comes down to this system, it will break the hardest motherfucker down. It really will. Especially when the feds show up, because typically they're not coming unless they already got everything they need. Right. They're not. They don't do shit like the state where, they pick you up and then they expect you to give them their case. Right. That happens a lot in the state. The cops, they investigating on no shit. They bring you in. You give up everything because you're a dumbass and you don't know that you need to shut the fuck up. You got the right to remain silent and use it. Right. The feds don't work that way. They usually wait. They lay, right? These are some of the things that I've been talking about when it comes to Brother Polite, right? He shouldn't feel too comfortable because this quiet time, I'm not going to say too much about that, right? Because when it happens, it's going to happen, and it won't be because we didn't give him an opportunity to get right. All right. So that's all I want to say about Tekashi 6ix9ine. Please don't be that. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. And we're finishing on time. I said I would be done by 9. I went through enough of this indictment. There's a link on there. You can go through it yourself. If you have questions for me, put them in the chat, and I will check them. Put them in the comment box or comment section or whatever the fuck it is, and I'll check it when I get a chance. All right. Michelle Fields, thank you so much, attorney at law. Thank you for joining me and sharing your wisdom with us. And I appreciate you and I love you, sis. And I will holler at you later. All right.
All right, thanks, guys. All right.
All right, fam. All right, and thank you to Michelle. Michelle works for Legal Aid in Queens. She's a supervisor there. We have sat on each other's trials many times. You know, it's always helpful to have another set of eyes and ears, watching proceedings, and helping out and giving advice. So I'm always thankful to her for her presence and her energy. So that's about it. Again, put your comments in the chat, in the comment section, and I'm going to do my best to try to come in once they load up, because I think there's a little delay once I put this up. There's a delay for when the comments load. I'm going to come in and I'll do my best to answer some of them, not all of them, because y'all know y'all be doing the most. I'm gonna answer some of the questions. Let me say this before I get off. I love all of you. I really do. I am a criminal defense attorney, and that's it. I do not desire to do any other type of law. So please do not send me a tome of your personal problems that have to do with something other than criminal law. Now, if you have a criminal law issue, don't send it to me if it's not in New York, because I'm only admitted to practice law in New York. That's it. I don't want to practice law anywhere else. When I leave New York, I'm going to fucking retire. I'm not going to be doing shit. So if it's not New York, I can't help you. No, I cannot give you advice. I can't tell you what my take is on anything that's outside of New York. You know why? Because I don't know the law there. I don't know the law. Somebody called me and asked me, yo, well, I got arrested in Jersey. I can't fucking help you. Jersey's a foreign country to me. I don't know the law there. I'm sorry. You need to call a Jersey lawyer, right? That's the beauty of our states. We have state sovereignty, and every state has its own laws. So different Fed. Now you've got a Fed case, and you want to holler at me, but your pocket's got to be really deep, because Fed cases are expensive. And if I got to leave New York, I need to be compensated very well for that. In any event, all right. So that's all I got to say about Tekashi 6ix9ine and the indictment. Don't be that guy. I already said that. And I'm out. Ike Speaks. I love you. I really do. Check my Instagram, Ike Speaks. My Twitter, Ike Speaks. Facebook, Ike Speaks. Get the book, Black Girl Slim, on Amazon.com. What else, babe? That's it.
For now.
That's it for now. Because he ready to go. He like to fuck off. All right, babe. All right. I love you. I really do. Ike Speaks.